welcome back to my channel. My name's Tori if you're new here, and if you're not, thank you so much for coming back. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than my typical lifestyle vlog format of a video. Today I'm going to be talking about my 5 tips to help avoid student debt. Before we get into today's video, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom and hit that like button and give this video a big thumbs up. So like I said, today's video is going to be all about how to avoid being in student debt, or at least being in a position where you can pay off your student debt shortly after graduation. Just as a disclaimer, I am not a finance student, I am not a financial advisor. These are all just tips from someone who went through this not that long ago. And honestly, the reason I'm making this video is because there definitely are a ton of videos out there on how to save a ton of money and get yourself out of debt and how to, pay off your student debt. But they're all from people that I feel like are in like their late 20s or early 30s and have already been through it and they're done and it's not that fresh in their mind. Whereas I'm someone who's right in the trenches of trying to get out of it, and I feel like I could definitely be super helpful to someone who's just starting this process or just getting out of this process. The first tip of how to avoid student debt is to do your research. And make sure you give yourself plenty of time to do your research so that way it's really thorough. Looking for all the money that's out there and available to you is going to get a little overwhelming. There's plenty of different websites and a ton of opportunities out there. They really do exist. However, it's going to take longer than just one Saturday on one weekend to find it. Honestly, it's probably going to take multiple weekends out of your time to go through and read all the fine print and details of what you need to do in order to get that money, and if you're going to have to pay that money back in any shape or forms, or any restrictions that come along with that money. If you're in high school, definitely try looking for this money the summer before your senior year. Honestly, you're probably not doing that much over your summer break, so it's a good time to really be able to dig deep and look for all the different opportunities there are out there. Some grants and scholarships may require a submission of work or some kind of application. And again, that's going to take longer than just one day to complete. Sometimes they need multiple bodies of work or a portfolio or something along those lines. And you want to make sure you're giving the best of the best so that way you can get that money that's out there. So make sure you're being really thorough and you take your time when you're doing your research so that way you can get the most out of the money that is out there for whatever your interest or major is. When I was looking for money to go to college, I gave it maybe a weekend's worth of my time, 2 days max, and got really overwhelmed and honestly didn't dig as deep as I could have to find all of the different opportunities out there. And it resulted in me having to take out so many loans. So again, make sure that you're doing your research to find what's out there for you. The second tip that I have is to budget. Factor in what you can and can't live without right now and any additional or hidden expenses that are going to come along with going to college. If you're in high school and you still get an allowance, try and put away about $5 or $10 from that allowance. Or if you're working a part-time gig, try and do the same thing. You pretty much want to give yourself a little nest egg so that way you can afford things like books, travel or commute money, and food when you're in college. Books can run you anywhere between $50 to like $300. And even if you do get grants and stuff, that's probably not going to end up going towards your books, and that's a huge extra that you need to be prepared for. Additionally, whether you're a commuter and you're going to drive back and forth to school every day, or maybe you go to school out of state, you need to figure out how that expense is going to run you. Gas will get pricey, and you need to think about how much you need to put aside each month in order to get yourself back and forth to school. And lastly, food being one of the most important. If you live on campus, think about your meal plan, how much that's going to run in additional cost, Or if maybe you don't live on campus but you live in an apartment or something, you're going to have to buy food probably for the first time, and you're going to need to consider what's really important and what you absolutely can live off of every single month. My third tip on how to avoid student debt is to pick a school that you can afford. Now, this is coming from someone who absolutely did not do that. I picked a school that was way too expensive, and honestly, it was a struggle every semester figuring out how I was going to go back to school. Some things to consider are you going to pay for school up front? Do you have it like that? Are you going to pay monthly out of pocket? Or are you going to take out loans but be able to pay them monthly? These are all really important questions that, again, you need to give yourself plenty of time to kind of figure out and get together a plan so you know which option is going to work best for you. Also, try and consider maybe community college is the right move for your first 2 years and get those gen eds out the way, but definitely make sure that they're going to apply to the university or college you're trying to go to, so you're not just spending money for like no reason. Also consider delay college for a year or so that way you can work part-time or full-time and save up the money to either give yourself the leeway to be able to pay it monthly or pay all up front. Now, if you choose to do part-time, the pay by month might be the best option. However, if you're in a position where you can work full-time and your employer is going to pay for you to go back to school, then that may be a great option as well. But again, maybe taking that year off will better help you afford school. My fourth tip on how to avoid student debt is to call the university or college that you're excited about going to or have accepted to go to and see what programs they offer to lower your tuition. Many colleges and universities have some kind of housing program where if you're an RA, you can get reduced or covered housing and meal plans. Also, if you work like for the campus, whether that's in like the cafeteria or something like that, you can also get some kind of voucher or something like that to reduce the cost of school. Honestly, just keep digging and call around to a lot of different offices at your university, because usually there's some kind of flexibility or some kind of program where you can start to chip away at that tuition bill. My last and final tip for avoiding student debt is to be honest. Be honest with yourself and be honest with your parents, because there's a lot that's going to come up in your process of applying and looking for money and going to school. There's going to be a lot to take on, different responsibilities and different things you've probably never had to think about. Be honest about the stress you're going to be able to handle. School in itself is going to be crazy hard and overwhelming, just figuring out your classes and everything that goes in with academia. And then add on the stress of trying to find money every semester or every year and reapplying and doing all of that work. It's going to be a lot. So be honest with yourself and figure out if you can really handle the responsibility of being in charge of your finances when it comes to your education. Be honest with yourself on why you're going to school. Are you going to school because you want that true college experience, or are you going because you want an education? If you just want that partying and going out every night college experience, you can do that without paying $20,000 a year. If you just want an education, you don't necessarily have to do that in a flat 4 years. You can space it out and work part-time or full-time. There's so many different options. You just have to figure out what's right for you and what's most important to you. These are my 5 tips on how to avoid student debt, or at least be able to get out of it fairly soon after graduation. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear in the comment section if you want me to do more of these types of videos or never again. And I'll see you guys next time.